Hey guys, back here for another weekly developer diary. So for this week, instead of doing some work in Unity, like I have the past couple of weeks, I decided to do a bit of art in Sprite. So first of all, that's the first thing I created. Created like a fox enemy, which is basically just a fox. And with this, overall, I think it came out quite well. I like these little stripes I've done to show like which way its fur is going. And I've gave it this sort of like patchy texture, the same on like its white neck, with just these lighter and darker pixels. Because otherwise, without that, it just looks very plain. Just adds a bit of texture to it. Because for example, if I just get rid of these two different shades, I can see that looks really plain. But adding them back in, especially there's a lot here, a lot lighter at the top, just to show there's like light hitting it at the top, just like ambient light. So I think overall, this looks quite good, and I'm quite happy with it. And I'm also quite happy with the pose it's got. So instead of it being like a wolf, that'd be like maybe like growling at you, because foxes are always thought to be quite like cunning and like intelligent. So I like this more like cautious pose it's got, with like sat with its tail to its side, like staring. So overall, I'm quite happy with how this looks. And then the other enemy I've done for this week is I made this squirrel enemy, which originally I made it without all these like sharp bits of fur or like thorny looking parts sticking out, but I added them to make it look a bit more like menacing. And something you'll notice about this squirrel is, as you see compared to the fox, this is a very big squirrel enemy. Because that fox, I imagine, is just like probably like a bit bigger than a normal fox. But this is a very large like squirrel enemy. And again, I did a similar technique in texture, giving it various stripes of lighter and darker colours, as well as just giving it bits of just lighter and darker pixels of two different shades to make its fur look less just bland and boring. So as you can see, if I get rid of these two shades, it just looks very plain. Doesn't look that interesting. Same on the belly here, of a lighter and a darker shade. So for example, if I got rid of these, as you can see, it just looks very, very boring. But then adding them back in just really adds a lot. And overall, I think this turned out quite well. And I imagine that in the said game where this will be in the like first forest dungeon, this giant squirrel is going to be quite a tough enemy. And once I did create this giant squirrel, I thought, how can I have a giant squirrel without a big giant acorn enemy? So this one's just a work in progress right now. But essentially I thought acorns have this top in it, so what if there was some sort of like evil spirit lurking inside of it? You can sort of see it peeking out. So that's the idea I've got for it. So I might change these eyes, but I like the idea of it sort of like peering out the top. And I quite like how this tops came out. Obviously I'll probably add a bit of texture to it. Just doing like different shades just to make it look less plain. So something along the lines of this. So you can see that just makes it look a bit more interesting, a bit more intricate. Something along the lines of that, or just adding more stripes, just in lighter colours. Could work. And then for the bottom, I'm thinking either having it float with some sort of like transparent misty aura, or just having this like spirit creature having sort of legs that are like seeping through. So maybe there's like a leg here, like that, for example. Something lines of that. Something looks quite unnatural and quite strange. So maybe having a leg there, and then the other leg would be on the other side here, which should probably come out about here. So like something along the lines of that could work. But yeah, these are the 3 pixel arts I've done this week, and overall I'm quite happy with them. I'm very happy how this fox turned out. I'm glad this texture on the fur came out quite well, and I think the colours look quite bright, and I think it works all together. And the same with the squirrel. I'm quite happy with how this looked. My thing with the squirrel was, if the fox is just going to be like, a normal fox, I thought with a squirrel I wanted to make it, considering its size, I want to make it look a bit more menacing, which is why I added all these like thorny. These could either be seen as either like thorns sticking out, or just tufts of hair and fur. And also to make it look more menacing, obviously you got to give it red eyes, and I also had this darker, almost like eyeshadow part marking around its eye to make it look a bit more menacing. And overall, I think it works quite well. And then lastly, this one, I think it's a good idea, and I just need to do a bit more work on it. So obviously I'll probably just add a few more colours on it, and just work on how exactly this will be like standing, and just getting the eyes right, I guess, is going to be a big part. But I very much like the idea of like an evil spirit that's hiding in an acorn. I think that's a cool idea for an enemy. And then for enemies, that'll probably do it for the first dungeon, because I'll have these three. The tree Pachysaurus that I've shown you in the past, as well as the tree Triceratops. So that'll be 5 enemies, one of which the tree Triceratops will be the boss enemy. So 4 different enemies and then a boss enemy for the chapter. I think that'll suffice. So as for next week I'm going to be quite busy. I'm going to be going back home for a few weeks, for obviously Christmas. However, I will be taking my PC with me, so I will be able to do work. However, obviously I'm especially the next few weeks, obviously, because it's getting to the festive period. Like next week's Christmas, well, coming up Christmas week. But as for next week, I'm probably going to do a bit more in Unity. Like, I can definitely see myself implementing the logic of making it so when you step on a grass tiles, there's, a 10, 15, 20% chance of basically changing the scene to the battle scene. And something I wouldn't mind doing is creating some player animations for the player in battle. So maybe an animation of the player swinging an axe or drinking a potion, something along those lines. So that's everything I've got to show you. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next week. Alright, peace.